by Commissioner Schmalz. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Consent agenda.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Move consent.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Building maintenance. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Consider approving a proposal from Widseth for design modifications to the environmental services elevator project at a total cost of $36,768 with funds from the solid waste abatement budget 05391. This proposal cost includes $27,552 for an as-built verification and construction documents and $9,216 for bidding and construction and administration. Installing a limited application Lula lift instead of an elevator and repositioning the Lula towards the south side of the building within the front lobby will reduce the overall scope, cost, and time of the project and provide the building with a fully accessible second story.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I just want to make a couple of notes, which we had discussions with the Budget Committee and also when Joe and I met with Widseth and Contegrity. So Lula and calling it limited use can be just kind of scary when you're thinking in terms of elevators. You might think of a simple lift that doesn't look like an elevator, but that's not the case. We did look at some projects that were done with this company in northern Minnesota by Arrow, if you would like to go online and reference something, for instance. And it appears like an elevator, it uses like an elevator, it operates like an elevator. When you think of a high-use elevator, think of maybe a 20-story hotel where it's being used hundreds of times a day. These are used, probably 20 times a day at the most. But it will be fully functional and it would appear like an elevator does. So if there are any questions, we can show you that. And also in the packet, you may have seen the drawings of the project, of the proposals. Those are not the final drawings. So those are just proposals and there would be some changes in those throughout time as well. Thank you.
I guess the only question I would have, I've been around long enough, I've seen a lot of numbers floating around with this, and this one looks good. We're confident this will cover the scope of the project. I realize you can't always predict the future, but
Yeah, so we did an on-site visit. They did a lot of measuring and verifying prior to preparing the quote, so I feel pretty confident it should cover it.
okay,
And Mr. Chair,
yes.
we also asked for an hourly rate if we were to go over on the project, and I believe that that's included in the packet in the letter.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'm okay. I mean, with the information that I've gotten, what I've looked at, I'm okay with. Our administrator alluded to it. Looks like a regular elevator, and I don't see any issues. The only question I had that I didn't hear an answer from is is the size of the elevator. I mean, I've had issues in the past where an elevator had to fit in a stretcher, and I just want to make sure we don't run into that after it's in. And I mean, I know that sucks, but I mean, I would at least like an answer to
Yes.
that. Otherwise,
I have your answer.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, that does fit a stretcher, the same as an elevator would, the capacity. They accommodate sorry, give me a second. You use them for schools, libraries, churches, and they're designed to be accessible, the same as a regular elevator is, so, yes.
No,
in the
I
weight
understand
capacity.
that, but it is okay with our insurance and with safety and all that. I mean, with that, I'm comfortable
And-
with it, so.
And we also would have the City of Hutchinson inspector on site to look at the project before we proceeded with anything. Contegrity would be handling that as part of the fees that you already approved for the project for construction management.
Okay. Long time coming.
Yeah,
Paul?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Budget Committee did review this and taking it out of the solid waste abatement budget seems to be the most logical funding source for the project, so.
Okay, any other questions?
No, Mr. Chair, and just to finish up where I was going there, is just I've been in favor all along to make that building, usable. You know, the upstairs, it's a good building and there's room upstairs, and I guess, you know, the Disabilities Act, we kind of required in a way to put that in, but like I said, with my, only thing is I'd like to double or triple check on the size to make sure that's suitable. Other than that, I have no issues.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the project wouldn't proceed without the board approval. This is for them to work on that, so we'll make sure that I'm drafting a note right now to make sure that that is taken into consideration further, but you would be aware of the project before it would proceed with anything past planning, so.
Mr. Chair, move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, second by Commissioner Kruger, to approve the proposal with WITSA for the design modifications to the environmental services elevator project. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, final discussion is coming out of the money would be coming out of the abatement fund, so I just want to highlight that as well.
No, as did Commissioner Wright. Nathan?
Thank you, Chair. One question I have before we take our vote, are we looking at a net cost reduction going this route versus going, you know, let's say the full-blown elevator version?
I would say significantly, but I'll let
It
these guys.
is anticipated to be a reduction in cost, yes.
Okay, thank you for that information.
Like I said, seen a lot of numbers fly across this, and this seems lower than most of them have been in the past, so. Any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, under B here, consider approving a proposal from WITSEF for the courthouse roof study at a cost of $22,440, with funds coming from the county building's major repair budget 01-115. The cost is based on an estimate of 136 hours to complete the study, with an average rate of $165 per hour. The courthouse is experiencing air and water filtration through the roof, and a study is needed to identify the scope of work associated with addressing this issue. The study will require the services of multiple disciplines, including an architect and engineers, and will include a building walkthrough, as well as developing a study, project cost analysis, and a project schedule. This study will provide McLeod County with a comprehensive review of the existing conditions of the building, proposed solutions, the financial impact of the construction project, and a time frame for potential construction project.
Questions for Joe?
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
I
Doug.
don't really have any questions, but I just want people to be aware, this isn't like it popped up yesterday. There's been issues going up there, and we're just finally getting to, or looking for a path forward to get these cleaned up. I mean, it's not, there's been some damages done up there. There's some outdated electricity, I mean, on and on, but we, if we want to save the integrity of the building, we're gonna have to look at doing something. Just a comment, thank you.
Agreed. Any further questions? Wishes of the board?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Wright, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Chachka, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Health and Human Services, good morning, Barrett.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I have one item for you today. It is to consider approving the Mobile Crisis Services Agreement with Canvas Health to receive funding and administer our mental health crisis and other related services to clients in McLeod County for the period of April 1st, 2025 through December 1st, 2026. That is a typo there, so it is about a year and a half contract there, with funds from the Individual and Family Social Services budget, 11-430. Canvas Health will provide mobile crisis services for adults and children in McLeod County who need immediate mental health crisis response, act as the fiscal agent and assume responsibility for the billing, the patient's insurance for mental health professional services that the patient receives. Canvas Health will provide telephonic crisis triage, intervention and safety welfare checks, consultation with professionals in the community, and/or general information referral, community-based critical incident stress management interventions, and development of a mobile crisis response service for McLeod County. In addition to the money granted by the Department of Human Services, or DHS, through the mental health crisis allocation, and funds already budgeted for this expense, McLeod County will pay the remaining costs with funds from the Southwest Minnesota Adult Mental Health Consortium, the Southwest 18. There will be a 6-month ramp-up period to get the services staffed and ready to begin providing service to McLeod County. Starting April 1st, 2025, First Call for Help, who contracts with Canvas Health, will begin providing the telephonic crisis triage with the goal of providing full mobile crisis services on or before October 1st, 2025. So I do have some numbers from the contract. From April 1st to December 31st of this year, 2025, our cost will be $180,663. Our cost for the full year of next year, January 1st to December 31st, 2026, will be $348,300, which is less than we were initially expecting, or what I shared at the last board meeting. So as I did share in that intro and at our workshop last month, we do have the funds to cover this. Leah Lundgren, who manages our mental health unit, and I are meeting with DHS next week to get that final allocation for the rest of this year and next year. But with what we have budgeted that we typically give to Carver, and with some additional funds through the Southwest 18, we will be able to cover this cost and have a mobile crisis provider.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
And Barrett, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm supportive of the request. The question I have is the 6-month ramp up. Can you give us a idea on how that's going to work? I guess my concern is that any calls coming in are served, the best we can with the capacity we have. So can you kind of walk us through the ramp up period?
Sure. So when our contract with Carver County ends on March 31st, our phone will keep the same phone number, the same phone line. That will be transferred over to First Call for Help, who works with Canvas Health to do the triage calls. So that number will still be answered and triaged appropriately. We just won't have anybody out in our communities to meet with people one-on-one. Phone call will still be answered. During that ramp-up period, Canvas Health is going to have to hire staff to provide the services that we would need, that they would provide telehealth, train them, all of that. So they are hopeful that we could get that in place before October 1st, but yet they also want to be realistic about that. Then we would offer telehealth, a spot here at the government center. We would support them upstairs in one of our cubicles, and then hopefully at the sheriff's office, as I've talked to Will about that as well. Being they are open and available 24 hours a day. If someone didn't have the equipment to do a telehealth visit with a provider, they could go to the jail and equipment would be provided by Canvas Health in order for that client or that patient to have a conversation with the provider.
Thank you, Barrett. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Doug.
couple of questions, can you tell me a little bit more about Canvas Health? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
obviously know where
Yeah.
they came from, what they're doing, are they just starting up?
No, they've been in business for quite a while. They're pretty well established. They come out of Oakdale, Minnesota. They provide mobile health crisis for a number of metro counties. They are going to start providing for Carver County, who we used to work with. They also work with Scott, Anoka, and a number of other counties that I can't think of right now. But this is what they do. They're well established, have a fairly good reputation.
Okay, that's good. And
Yeah.
is there, 6 month ramp up period of time? Now, in our contract, is this a mandated service?
It is.
Okay, and I
Yep.
assumed as well, but I wanted to make sure.
Yep.
In our contract, I mean, let's say and they can't cut it, I mean, my words,
Yep.
but are we able, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in the legislature right now about mental health and
Yep.
different things, and if we have to, negotiate or work with them to provide the services that we're mandated to do, is there room in that contract to negotiate or talk about that? I mean,
Yes.
there's always that possibility.
Sure, just like how Carver County notified us that they were no longer able to provide that service, if Canvas Health ever got in that situation, or if we as McLeod County weren't happy with the service they were providing us, there are means for us to terminate that contract.
And do we have any, during that, I mean, I'm, these maybe are rhetorical questions, but I mean, and during that wrap-up time,
Yep,
is there, we don't have any, responsibility that we may not be able to live up to, or will we have to work with them a little bit more than, you know, just to make sure that we're
Yeah.
doing what we have to do?
that's a great question. Leah and I have talked with the DHS unit that oversees mobile mental health crisis for the department. And they are well aware that we were dropped and we had to scramble to find someone else. We found a very good, viable partner, but that it will take us a while to get where we want to be. And they understand that, they're well aware. I think I'm just really glad that we're able to keep the same phone number. So people that have that phone number can keep that phone number, and that number will still be answered. You might not be able to speak to a mental health professional right away, but you're still gonna get it answered, and they're still gonna triage you to someone appropriately.
And it was kind of nice to hear that there's access in the, or possibly access in the jail. Will they be
Yes.
able to work then with inmates as well, or is that gonna have to stay separated?
I think it's gonna have to stay separate unless someone in the jail is having a crisis. I mean,
Well, that's what I kind of,
Yeah,
if somebody
yeah.
came in crisis, I mean, how do you know?
right. I know, when I've talked with Tim and Aaron, they call mobile crisis frequently, their deputies do. And so they're excited about a new relationship or a good partner in this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Barrett.
All right,
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Barrett, with your, what is it, 3/4 of a year that we have for this year, is there a chance that 6-month time frame would either be like maybe 4 or 5 months, or could it go out to 7 or 8, and does that make a difference as far as that price goes?
Yeah, that would affect the price for sure. But we're hopeful that they can start before October. When we had conversations, they said we want to underpromise and overproduce. So I have a good feeling that we're going to get someone before October. But we'll just have to see how that goes.
Okay. Wishes of the board?
Move request, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Schmalz, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to note, Canvas Health has said that they are more than happy to come to a board meeting at the end of the year, the beginning of next year, to give a report on their services, which I think we will take them up on, because I think that's important.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Public Works.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Consider approving the final acceptance and payment to contractors for the Century Hall Building Project at a total cost of $42,819.02 with funds from the Fairgrounds capital budget. Payments include $9,991.27 to R&R Excavating out of Hutchinson, $8,181 to Voss Plumbing and Heating of Painesville, $1,255 to Grazzini Brothers and Company, $3,020 to Breath Zenzen Fire Protection, $13,955 to Voss Plumbing and Heating of Painesville, and $6,416.75 to Design Electric. The items under the scope of these contracts have been completed satisfactorily, and final acceptance and payment is recommended.
Very good. I'll move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
you. New face.
Jay
Good morning.
Nevenson, Assistant Public Works Engineer.
Morning.
Morning. Welcome.
Consider approving the joint powers agreement with the City of Lester Perry for the 2025 Joint Seal Coat Project. Both the City of Lester Perry and McLeod County planned on seal coating streets in Lester Perry in 2025. In order to best coordinate seal coating activities and minimize disruptions to the traveling public, staff determined these projects should be done jointly. This agreement defines various rights, obligations, and cost sharing of the project and is similar to agreements we have done in the past. The City of Lester Perry will be the lead agency for this project. McLeod County will be seal coating County State Aid Highway CASA 23 from CASA 1 to CASA 9 and CASA 109 from Elm Street to CASA 23.
Very good. Nathan, anything?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I will move the request as presented to us, and I am happy that we can coordinate a construction project with another entity like the City of Lester Prairie. I think there's going to be cost savings to both parties involved, so appreciate you bringing it forward. Thank you.
Motion by Commissioner Schmalz. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Any discussion? Nathan, I incidentally cut you off. Anything else?
We're good.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, will proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That was easy. All right. Auditor Treasurer.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board.
Morning.
Today I'm here on behalf of County Ditch 12A for you to consider and adopt the findings in order to file the engineer's repair report and set the hearing for the repair report of County Ditch 12A. The findings in order was in your packet, as was the repair report. There was an informal meeting held with the landowners with a presentation from the engineers on CD 12A. That was in February 24th, followed by landowner discussion. So I guess I'm looking for a motion to, well, we need to set the hearing date. I have optional dates of April 16th and April 17th. April 16th, I would recommend either a 9 o'clock or a 1 o'clock, and April 17th at 1 o'clock. This is Holy Week for those that observe that, so if you need to take that into consideration at all, I would need a quorum for this meeting, hearing.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so if we approve this, are we approving, we're not approving the entire project, right?
Correct.
We're
All
just-
you're doing is setting the date for the hearing.
Okay,
And at that time, the landowners would be noticed and would be able to come in, and it's a public hearing, so they could give additional input also.
okay, okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, but we are approving the findings as well, right?
You will approve,
Findings in order.
right. Basically, that is just having the, saying that we directed the engineer to prepare the report that's been filed with me, and that we're setting the hearing date.
But I'm just trying to point out to Commissioner Cheska, we're just moving forward. We're not
Okay, I just
making-
wanted to make
yeah,
sure, 'cause I'm
I
like-
could tell, and that's
Okay.
fine.
We're not ordering the project
Correct.
forward at this point.
Okay,
Excuse me, kind of go over the dates again, 7?
April 16th, which is a Wednesday, or April 17th.
Not to get in
And you
mess.
said that's Monday, Thursday?
Correct.
17th for me, but I guess we can punt with the quorum on the 16th if we have
It's
to.
gonna be pretty important, and I'm guessing that we'll have a lot of people.
What times were you recommending on the 17th, if that works for the rest of the board?
The 17th, only 1 o'clock, that's, the boardroom is not available in the morning. The 16th, either 9 o'clock or 1 o'clock.
Well, not that it's all about me, but 1 PM on the 17th would work for me. The 16th's out, so.
All right.
I'm the opposite, I'm out on the 1 o'clock, but that's just one, so there's still 4 left, so.
But you're okay the 16th?
Yep. In the morning of the 17th, but the room's not available, so.
Right.
And so I don't know if you want to consider maybe what landowners would be able to attend more, if it would be that 9 o'clock time.
Well, I'm trying to think of that, and I mean, I'd be guessing,
Hard to
so I have no
predict.
idea.
Hard to predict that.
Yeah. They're usually morning, I mean, landowners are usually morning people, but that's just me. I don't know. I'm open both days.
Anything that can be moved on the 17th for the, I suppose not, it's DMV day, I suppose, on the
Well, if you're, sorry, Mr. Chair, if you're just needing this room, then the DMV wouldn't impact that. I don't know what meeting is scheduled that morning. I can try and find out. Is it, did you happen to see when you were?
I didn't write it
That's
down,
fine.
I don't remember.
You're fine,
know
I just
that.
didn't know. But I would assume that if that's all that works for the group, that we could hold it somewhere. I mean, it doesn't have to be in this room either.
I would just say that if it happens to be sunny during that time, a lot of those landowners are gonna wanna be sitting in the tractor cab as soon as possible, so a morning meeting might, encourage a little more participation
Sure.
to attend.
Well, should we just go with the 16th and I'll see what I can do?
16th at 9?
Cole would be here.
Okay,
17th morning or either afternoon.
okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I missed that. So where are we at now?
I think we're at the 16th at 9 AM.
And
I will reserve the room
I'm fine
for
with
you.
that. And if I'm not hearing any objections, I will move to that effect and adopt the orders.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Kruger, second by Commissioner Chachka to adopt the finding in order to file the engineer's report and set the hearing date of April 16th at 9 AM here, correct? At the Government Center regarding County Ditch 12A. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Ryan, did I hear you say that Kolb is available at those times?
On the morning of the 16th.
Okay, very good.
I have not, but I confirm to you.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Supportive of the plan. I did review the report in our packet, and it sure, to me, appears to be some serious deficiencies in the system. So, I mean, this is just the process of us moving forward to see if we can address those deficiencies in a transparent manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to let the board also know that within the findings in order, the notice of the hearing will be given to the landowners at least 10 days within the hearing.
Very good. All right, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Information technology.
Good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
Here to request, consider approving the purchase of copiers for Metro Sales of Mankato, Minnesota, including trade-in of existing copiers for a state contract price of $138,351.85 with funds from the Information Technology, Income Maintenance, Individual and Family Social Services, Jail Canteen Account, and Conceal and Carry permit budgets, plus maintenance fees at a per-page cost of 8.9 cents for black and white and 5.9 cents for color, with funds from income maintenance, individual and family social services, highway administration, and central services countywide budgets. After a review of all copiers and print devices, or a review of all copiers and print devices was completed, the county will be reducing by one copier in Health and Human Services, though another copier may be purchased in the future if this reduction doesn't work. The county is also adding 2 copiers in the Sheriff's Office and replacing between 6 to 12 local printers. All copiers have been adjusted in size and features based on usage. When departments moved into the Government Center, the county reduced by 2 copiers and reduced by 8 other print devices. We're purchasing a total of 16 copiers. 14 are being replaced. and then the 2 ads. And of the existing copiers, 6 are 10 years old, and 8 are 7 years old or older.
All right. Any questions for Matt?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I just want to note, thank you to Matt, because I know that this project took a whole lot of work, and it sounds maybe simpler than it is. That summary of information that he just gave the board took a lot of research, and Matt was pretty thoughtful of the function on each of the copiers and printers, and is really intentional about those purchases. So he has done a ton of research looking into what is utilized in the county and what's necessary, and that we are grateful for that responsibility. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, and I would agree, and the workshop last week was helpful regarding the more detailed information, and this is a nice summary of it. And it's a big number, but it's also something that we've worked at actually whittling down and have. So, any more questions for Matt? What are the wishes of the board? I'll move to approve, see where it goes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I think
Yes.
the conversation on the copiers that we've all heard it, I mean, we have to have the necessary copiers in order to do all the functions. I mean, the concept of being completely paperless is, I think we kind of uncovered that a couple weeks ago. It just doesn't work. But we do have to keep these machines up and running, and it's a big undertaking for Matt to put this together, and definitely do appreciate it. But we have to keep all of our departments flowing well with their things that they need to print, so.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to county administration, review of our calendars. Commissioner Kruger, whenever you're ready.
All right, since the last meeting, we had a workshop after, and then we had a short budget meeting. And that was on the 4th. On the 7th, I had ATP, which is District Transportation, just reviewing projects and costs. And then on the 11th, I had a joint ditch meeting in the morning, joint with Carver and McLeod, and I'll let Commissioner Schmalz comment on it as well. He had more ditches than I did, but it's just doing some work with our joint ditches with Carver County. On the 12th, I had Lower Minnesota, One Watershed, One Plan, basically going through the grant money that's left, that has been spent and that's left, and how to proceed for the year, and trying to figure out just exactly how much money we'll have for some of the projects that are being looked at. Agenda review that afternoon. Another short budget committee meeting on the 14th. And then I had a Zoom meeting with Minnesota Jobs and Training, which was my first meeting with that particular service. And we'll, more news to come. I have some checking or updating of my own to take care of with that. Yesterday I had MRC board meeting again, mostly looking at our policies and our legislative positions, and just seeing where they're going, and along with most of the other meetings that I just talked about, it's trying to figure out our budgets and which way to go. I mean, things are, they are what they are, but they're kind of all in question. So with that, I'm here today. Paul?
Okay. Last week, during the township meetings, I went to Round Grove, then up to Lynn, Penn, then Collins. Definitely like to thank administration and department heads, especially Stefan, for putting together some fantastic books to be able to hand out. We'll be using those throughout the year, but that information comes in really handy, and again, Stefan did a fantastic job of organizing those booklets to be able to work with. Budget committee met, as Commissioner Kruger mentioned yesterday. Economic Development Committee met. A lot of business updates, and Liz also shared an upcoming event in May where it's kind of a town hall session. We'll be having a couple speakers come out about the business climate here in McLeod County, and there'll be more upcoming with that, but I think that that is gonna be a really neat event. On top of that, today is National Ag Day, and there are activities happening at state capitals and our nation's capital from different ag supportive groups to kind of commemorate today, to celebrate our nation's agriculture. And so I have a bunch of stats and figures to read off that are available on the Minnesota Department of Agriculture website, just kind of highlighting what agriculture is all comprised of here in the state of Minnesota. State of Minnesota has about 25 million acres of farmland. If we look at our agricultural capacity here in the state of Minnesota ranks nationwide number 6 in total ag production. If we break that down, we're 5th highest in crop production and 8th highest in livestock. If we break that down even further, the state of Minnesota is number 1 in sugar beets, number 1 in turkeys, and number 1 in green peas. The state of Minnesota is number 2 in hogs and sweet corn. Number 3 nationwide in soybeans, sunflower, canola, dry beans, and oats. 4th highest in corn, 8th highest in dairy products, 10th highest in potatoes and rye. Our agricultural marketing capacity here in the state is $26 billion, comprised of nearly 16 billion just in crops, and about 10 billion of that within our livestock industry. Minnesota exports $10 billion worth of product every year, ranking 4th highest in the nation. If we look at our biofuels industry, the ethanol production here, we're 5th highest in the nation with 1.4 billion gallons of ethanol produced, and our biodiesel, product from soybeans, would be 85.5 million gallons, number 8th highest in the United States. A couple highlights just on, one more on the economy. The ag exports that are generated here from the state of Minnesota account for 52,000 jobs with an economic benefit of over $14 billion. A couple added features on our hog industry here. Again, we're 2nd highest in hogs. There are 12.5, we can attribute 12.5 billion to the economic gains just from our hog industry. There are 849 million pounds of pork exported from the state of Minnesota annually. And all those pigs will eat about 142 million bushels of corn annually. So all these numbers, we throw that together, and it means that Minnesota is a very huge player in our nation's agriculture capacity. And the actions that we take here in McLeod County definitely put us as a strong ag supporter. We support our Soil and Water Conservation District and all those groups and organizations that are here working with ag production. So just wanted to bring all that to the table today.
Very good, thank you. Following the last meeting, we had a workshop with a variety of topics. One of the most focused on was the conversations with state of Minnesota and Bowser and a group of constituents or landowners that were here. I think overall it was a good meeting, a lot of information that was based on facts and not emotion. And I was overall very happy with how that went, and more to follow regarding that and the partnerships that we have as we move forward. It's been brought up by other commissioners regarding the township meetings. I attended Hutchinson Township in the afternoon, Oklahoma Township in the evening. Both of them, I would say their attendance was lower than typical years for whatever reasons, but the people that were there were very engaged and had a lot of good information and good questions, and we had a good conversation. Again, thanks to the staff and Stefan for that packet. Made it easy to follow along. In fact, so easy that I forgot some other things that I meant to talk about because I was too focused on this pretty little packet that everybody loved, and we got distracted. So, but overall, I think the townships that I represent had some hard questions. And Hutchinson obviously focused on a particular ditch that we've been struggling with. Colma talked about some roads and some potential, I don't know if it's grants or funding sources or opportunities that we wanted to talk with, and I'm sure those are all similar, the same conversations you had with all your townships. But overall, it was good, and actually for me, it was enjoyable to see everybody, and get out there, and, because I don't always make those meetings like I'd like to, so. Nathan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The past couple of weeks since our last board meeting, we held our workshop right here at the Government Center on Tuesday the 4th. On Wednesday the 5th, I did a Zoom meeting, which was sponsored by AMC, and it was a meeting that was hosted by MCIT, and it was the Part 3 session of a primer on our open meeting law. And then Thursday was my Prime West Joint Powers Board meeting in Alexandria. What I can report about that is there's still court action being pursued as far as county-based purchasing. It's in the hands of Minnesota Supreme Court, and we do expect a decision on that in a short time frame. It's been something that's been ongoing for, I believe, 9 months now. So we're patiently waiting for that decision and looking for a favorable result from that decision. And then last week, as Commissioner Kruger mentioned, he and I attended a joint ditch meeting. I attended in person in Carver County because I had 4 systems that we were kind of taking care of expenses with. The expenses were costs that we incurred to work with redeterminations on those 4 systems, JD4, JD1, JD5, and JD7 for myself. One issue that seems to have come out of the last meetings we've had is with JD1 and the expansion of the watershed of JD1. Now it appears that McLeod will be the lead agency on that particular system because of the size, or I should say the piece in McLeod is bigger than the piece in Carver County. So that's something Carver is going to pursue with Attorney Cole to make sure we're doing the right process on transferring, you know, McLeod into the front seat of JD1. And on Tuesday, also, that was annual township meeting day for myself. I attended township annual meetings in Bergen Township, in Winston Township, and Hale Township. Those meetings are in the evening, so I was on a very tight time schedule to make those meetings, and thankfully the townships involved accommodated my schedule. Again, as mentioned, thanks for administration, thanks for Stefan for putting together a really fine report to share. The feedback from the report is very positive, very well done, so much appreciated that we had information that we all can speak to and follow when we do visit our townships. And then that brings me to yesterday. As Commissioner Kruger mentioned, MRC had a legislative update attended by Zoom. The guest speaker was Representative Schultz. He did report on some of the issues that are going on in his district, and also some that MRC is also working on, and you know, him showing his sensitivity to the MRC agenda at the legislature. He also talked about the timelines and the schedule that legislature needs to push hard on to stay on schedule. He speaks to probably the likelihood of special session, which nobody really wants to, you know, deal with, but in order for them to get their work done, it may be inevitable, is the opinion of several of the professionals that are working down at the Capitol in St. Paul. And that brings us up to date today, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
Like everybody else, we had the workshop after our last meeting on the 4th. That was kind of my first glance at the topic that we had discussed that day with the landowners, so trying to learn as much about that as I can. On the 5th, I also attended the Zoom meeting on the open meeting law. And then on Thursday the 6th, Nathan went in person to Prime West and I listened on Zoom, and it got again, I'm learning new things every time I attend these meetings, so it's good that I listen even if I'm not able to make it. The 11th was my township day as well, and I thought I had really great dialogue with Hassan Valley, Rich Valley, and Sumter. I appreciate Sheila coming with me because it helped with the nerves and to follow what she did after the first meeting, so I kind of got an idea, and by the last one, I felt pretty comfortable. So I really enjoyed that. I had some great conversation. Recycling was brought up at all three of them. Cannabis was brought up. And so, and they had some questions that I got some answers for and got back to them on that. On the 12th, PACT had their annual meeting. I went to Wilmer for that one. That was pretty interesting. They had a couple programs throughout the afternoon with some of the programs that they had, so it was fun to learn about some of those things. They do some sort of circus thing in Wilmer. It's a trial basis thing here, but it sounds like they're doing a really great job, and it was kind of fun. I had to go up front, of course, and balance a peacock feather on my head and my hand, and so that was kind of fun. Yesterday, I attended the EDA meeting with Paul, excited with the job that Liz is doing, and as Paul alluded to, there's a forum coming up on May 6th, and that's from 4 to 6. That'll be coming, more information on that coming out. I had a couple of residents call about the ditch 12A after that meeting we had, or at the last workshop. And then some other residents on issues, and I just wanted to say, I was supposed to meet with Barrett after the last meeting. It didn't work, it ran kind of late, but she had a great handout for me on HHS. It gave me an idea of what each one of the components of that department kind of deal with, the people who are in there and that sort of thing. So I really appreciate that handout from Barrett, so thanks.
All right. Anything from the attorney's office?
Well, I guess I attended 4 township meetings with 4 of the commissioners. I wasn't able to make it to Nathan's neck of the woods. The schedule just didn't let me. But so I was in Glencoe, Hassan Valley, Acoma, and Collins, and I enjoyed that opportunity to attend with the various board members and field a few questions from those in attendance, which yeah, it was a great opportunity to meet with our constituents. So I was happy to take along. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I have to apologize, I don't know how I had it circled and everything, but I missed my township days. And, no, mine went fairly well. Ryan did come to the Glencoe Township, and he actually, I don't know if the right word is stole the thunder, but he made it, after he got done, it was pretty easy for me. And our big discussions were, I guess road and bridges, and the main one is recycling, things that came up. So I just wanted to apologize for missing that, but.
Very good. Sheila, anything? Otherwise, you can go into the administration items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to take a moment and recognize our Commissioner Doug Kruger for 10 years of dedicated service, over 10 years of dedicated service, and give him this award from McLeod County. Thank you. Do you want to make a speech?
No,
You gotta go closer to your microphone.
Unless we adjourn, but, no, thank you. I know there was a little confusion about that because of the years I had put in on a couple of committees, but I do appreciate it. Hoping for 10 more, I guess.
Never give Doug the opportunity to give a speech.
There you go.
He'll say no and still get one, but we appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Ready?
I am. Item A, consider approving the rental agreement between McLeod County and Russell Kruger of Hutchinson, Minnesota through September 2026. This is for the home property and the garage property at Stalls Lake Park.
And that's something that's also on the agenda that we're gonna talk about, or the workshop agenda that we're gonna talk, correct?
That's separate, correct?
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
Mr. Chair, clarification, I have no relationship that I'm aware of with Mr. Kruger.
Okay. Wishes of the board?
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second? second by Commissioner Chachka. Any discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, notification of an electronic transfer of funds in the amount of $2 million from the Magic account to the Security Bank checking account made on February 28th, 2025. Item C, notification of a special meeting of the McLeod County Board of Commissioners at 10:00 a.m. on Friday, April 4th, 2025, at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. The purpose of the meeting is for discussion of McLeod County's 2025 legislative priorities. Item D, notification of board workshop following the board meeting on Tuesday, April 1, 2025, at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Thank you.
All right. Up to the point of the agenda, open forum. Anyone wish to address the board? Press relations, any questions for the media? Very good. Looking for a motion to recess to the next board meeting at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, April 1st, 2025 at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Motion by Commissioner Chachka, second by Commissioner Schmalz. Any discussion? Hearing none, will proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We do have a rather lengthy workshop agenda.